What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Making Podcasts Great Again. I am your tech stuff guy, Nog, and we are here, of course, with the President of the United States of Mar-a-Lago of America, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, how are you today?
We had a wonderful CPAC. They call it CPAC. You used to have Toothpaste, now we got CPAC. And a lot of people say it's now basically become Trump pack. And I like that. I like that because it sort of acknowledges that we've changed the Republican, the conservative movement. It used to be a bowel movement, and now it's a much stronger movement. So we're doing great things. And it was great going to CPAC because you wouldn't believe, maybe you would believe it, tech stuff, but Hollywood, obviously there's beautiful women in Hollywood. We all know this. Most of them are radical left, but I'll give them credit. Some of them are very attractive. A lot of them want me. I don't think people realize how many sort of like fake, pumped up, delicious looking slut women are in the conservative movement. You have sort of the Bible women who think their job is to be sexy and hot for their husbands. The Bible says that. And the other half don't really do Bible, but they just want to be with rich, powerful men. So they get very sexy and hoary. And it's a beautiful thing. So it's a very underrated, the talent that walks around at CPAC. And so, we took conservative values, we took strong Republican Trump policies, and then we go back to the hotel room and have very strong orgies with pornographic looking women. And it's all values, it's all conservative and very strong. So I'm feeling healthy and rested and drained from the weekend. Obviously, Melanoma doesn't listen to the podcast because she doesn't understand English or how to use Apple, but we're doing very well. She prefers bananas, if you know what I mean.
That's very nice. So CPAC is crazy. It's like spring break, huh? The party
We
at
have a saying.
nighttime.
We have a saying. It's like spring break for conservative, strong values people. We have a saying at CPAC. What goes on at CPAC goes up your ass. Very strong, very pro-anal. It's a very pro-anal festival for conservative, strong family values.
You said it was very crowded. Chris Christie was saying that
Well, any room Chris Christie's in is crowded because he's a humongous fat person.
Well, he was saying that it was a lot of empty seats. Is there truth to that statement or no?
Well, they're going to be empty seats next to Chris. When he goes on a bus or a plane, they make him buy 3 seats.
He's one of those guys with the seatbelt extender.
Sir, you're oozing into the other seat, so you're going to have to buy both of them. So no, he of course I don't know what the hell he's talking. I mean, Chris Christie sort of committed to being sort of. He kissed my ass for a couple of years. He didn't get a job, and now he's decided, oh, I'm going to be a very strong, truthful Republican that says ridiculous things about his president. It's very sad. We used to be close, and then he got even fatter, and I had to stand even farther away to give room for his gut.
You spoke at CPAC. How did that go?
Oh, it was a tremendous, it was very positive. I told my voters and my people that I was their retribution, and a lot of controversy over that, but it doesn't mean a bad thing. It doesn't mean nasty things. It means if you disrespect the bath salts, Mountain Dew, illiterate white trash opioid army that is MAGA, I will rain down terror and violence and destruction on you. I am your retribution, but it's in a positive way.
It doesn't sound very positive.
No, it's positive the way when the doctor says you're HIV positive, it's actually sort of a negative thing. I'm retribution positive. Put it down as a title, like I don't know what the tech stuff guy's doing. I know the tech stuff playbook better than you, tech stuff.
Thing is, there are a lot of articles that I saw online where they were saying that your speech was dishonest, full of lies. And I have a list of these alleged lies, and maybe we can clear some of these things up for the listeners where maybe people are just taking things out of context or twisting what you're saying.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't even say maybe. You shouldn't even say maybe because
Most
that's what they
most
do.
definitely, most definitely.
Remember Mos Def?
Yes, I like most def. And Talib Kweli,
Oh,
Black Star.
it's can you say that now?
It's the name of their band. Yes, the name of their group.
Well, I just remember Mos Def, and I used to have to shut the crap out of what I said in front of him. I was like, the man can't hear.
I think we're talking about two different people. Now
Mos
during your
Def, he was an old Jewish guy who hung out at a deli in New York, and he couldn't hear. They would say Mos Def, and I'd say, I'll just speak louder. Mo, would you like the pastrami sandwich? Huh? Oh, you're speaking the truth. Mo's Def for sure.
Now, Mr. President, I want to ask you about some of these things that you said. You let me know. You said that in Manhattan right now, killings are taking place at a number like nobody's ever seen, right in Manhattan. And there were 43 reported murders in 2022, where in the 90s, 1990, 379, 1993, 306, 124 in 2000. Yeah. So 43 reported in 2022. I'm sorry,
Where?
Manhattan North. So you're
Yeah,
wrong
I
about
was gonna say, these are very interesting stats.
43 North, 35 South. So you're talking 124, and then so it's 124 reported versus 379 in the 90s.
In one precinct.
No, you're talking Manhattan South region,
Why don't you just
35
go
in
with New York City?
2022, 124. They don't give it that way, but they do say
What side are you on?
totals
What side are you
2000,
on?
2,200.
Annoyingpolicestats.org?
They break it down like in 400 different ways, but 2,262 in 1990,
All right. Let's move on to the next step because what I'm going to tell you, tech stuff, is that I don't read
438 in 2022.
I don't read the failing New York Times. It's disgusting. But I saw a lot of stats today, and I know that these are false stats. I talk to my people who live in
Mhm.
New York City. I have a few people who've decided to stay, even though it's a hellhole. And they tell me, you want to know what they tell me the official stats? Because they're lying like dogs about the stats. 3.8 million people were murdered last month in New York City.
it's it's 438 2022
Okay.
and
I'm telling you, in
2000.
2023, it's 3.4 million.
Where'd you get that stat from?
Well, I have people on the ground in New York who are actually there. They're not doing nerdy math. They're not doing nerdy math stats. They're actually watching people get slaughtered every day.
Okay, well let's go. You were very high on monuments, right? If anyone destroyed a
No,
monument,
I
they
don't get
were.
high on anything. I actually don't do drugs and I don't do
It's an
any
expression
sort of.
meaning like you were really um you wanted people to serve lots of jail time if they destroyed any kind of monument, mandatory jail time. You want a mandatory 10-year sentence. That's what you said. And that's what happened. In reality, it's up to a 10-year sentence. It's not mandatory 10-year sentence, but you were telling people it's 10 years. So that's false.
How about this? Okay, tech stuff. If you have a judge who
I'm
cares
just
about the
telling you what this
country,
article is saying.
if the judge cares about the country, which obviously we have Obama judges and fake radical left judges who don't, but if you get a Trump judge who cares about the country, you're getting 10 years.
Well, maybe if you had something to say about it, they would get 10 years.
I did have something to say about it, and they're getting 10 years. It's also called a decade. Not a lot of people know that.
No. There's a list here from you talking about NATO funding to Russia to
I actually pronounce it
Ukraine
Nader with a hard R.
to
That's how
NATO's
much I hate Nader.
existence to NATO's headquarters to the Pulitzer Prize. Um, it just keeps, this list is huge. The Obama administration, Biden, the economy. This list goes on and on of what you allegedly lied about. The tariffs on China. It's just too much to go through here.
And
Even if
what's your
these
source?
facts,
What is the source that your so-called source that you're citing?
it's quotes by you. They quote you.
Who's quoting me?
CNN is quoting you.
Well, there you go. Next question. Next topic. Oh, CNN. Oh, well then. They
Would you
could
even
never
take
tell
it
if
from Fox News?
you look at Fox News, they're too scared right now to go against me, and they should be. My
They're
people will
shook.
go to OAN and Newsmax so fast, your head would spin.
So you're telling me that Fox News is going to start to have your back once everything starts rolling?
They'll see. They're gonna realize sour voice DeSantis is gonna come out there and they're gonna, we can't back that. Listen to this guy. Nobody wants to hear this guy talk. And they're gonna come running back like dogs.
Did you have any beef at this at CPAC?
Oh, we had lots of beef because we don't do vegan at CPAC.
Just
Tremendous amount of
saying,
beef.
any altercations with any other politicians? Any DeSantis
No, but I tell you,
shenanigans?
When Bobert saw me getting uh, orally serviced by a very strong Christian woman at CPAC, she almost knocked her block off because she was very upset to see that, because she knows she's a two-time Epi winner for future Trump wife.
Well, how about this? I know you're not a fan of Twitter anymore, but lots of pro-Trump bots on Twitter are attacking DeSantis and Haley.
You call them bots, I call them patriots. Bars.
That's hilarious. So you're saying these are all do you even care that all these AI are going after DeSantis and Haley, or you think it's fair
But I
game?
will
Does
say
doesn't matter
this.
in politics?
I will say this to all our fans and
Mhm.
supporters, some of whom really support us strongly, and some we call them sinos, supporters in name only, because they don't do the Patreon, and it's frankly that's sort of disgraceful based on what we've done. But we had one of the great moments in Patreon history, maybe the greatest moment, talking about Trump AI, what Trump AI would do. And
Yes.
I frankly don't care if it's bots, thoughts, or garlic knots who are doing this. If they're going after DeSantis, it's the right thing to do because he wants to destroy the Republican Party. He's disloyal. He's the wrong guy to lead the country. He's the wrong guy for basically anything, if we're being honest. And I think that we have to fight with all the tools that we have. All the tools. We have to use Second Amendment. We have to use cyber. We have to use AI. We have to use IA. We have to use EIO.
What's
We have to use Old McDonald. We have to use all our farms, all our patriot farmers, AIEIO. And then and a DeSantis here and a DeSantis there. Destroy him in his fuck boots. EIAIO.
you should do political nursery rhymes making fun of your
Old
um
DeSantis had no guts. EIEIO. I fucked him up during the debate. EIEIO. Fuck me boots here, fuck me boots there. A sour milk voice. He's a piece of shit. Old DeSantis will get crushed. EIEIO. That's for all the kids, all the great MAGA kids. Thank you.
That's awesome. Mr. President. So there's no beef there. Did you see Marjorie Taylor Greene there?
Well, I'm going to say something that you might not expect. How about this?
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene must have spent, I don't know how many millions of dollars to look presentable for this, but I didn't reckon. I walked up to Marjorie Taylor Greene at the CPAC. Yeah, she walked up to me and kind of grabbed the woman. I didn't realize this woman, this sort of nice looking blonde woman, sort of a little too strong for me. But she walked up to me and grabbed my crotch and said, I'd like to do something patriotic for you right now, sir. And I said, okay, but thank you, but I'm looking for Martin Taylor Greene right now. We have to discuss policy. And she said, sir, it's me. And I said, oh, did you go trans? You're a woman now? And I thought that was very interesting because it was sort of, we usually don't speak great of trans people, but it turns out Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was a woman the whole time. Oh no. No, and she really got as the blacks would say, a real glow up for the CPAC. So I'm sure she was getting double teamed by some gym members at one of the post parties. She has an event she calls it cross fuck, where they do weird chin ups while fucking each other. And so it's I think she was there to play, and she looked a lot better than she usually looks. So I give her great credit.
You recently also said that you think China should pay for damages of the COVID-19 spread, since evidence has, I think, come out allegedly that the virus did start in a Wuhan lab, not in a wet
Got
market.
you all in check.
That's perfect timing. So what are your thoughts? How are you going to get China to pay up without starting World War III?
It was our our Department of Energy, which under me was energy dominance. They said with their classification, they said it was with low confidence, which, as you know, is the highest level of confidence any agency can have. They said with low confidence. Yeah, it was like Garth Brooks used to have that song, I got friends in low places.
Yeah.
Well, I got China in low confidence. I don't know if they did it, but I'm gonna say they did. Garth Brooks, one of the great acts ever. Garth Brooks, very girthy. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna say to China, hello, China. What I'd like you to do now, we know it started in a lab. You had Dr. Bunsen, Honeydew, and Beaker walking around, eating dog for lunch. Not the bounty hunter, but actual dog, like a dog. They were eating dog like a dog. And they said, and they just dropped the COVID right into the lab, and they just dumped it outside in the trash like a dog that they were eating. And all of a sudden, we got COVID everywhere. And everybody said it was racist just because I called it the Kung Flu, the Flu Jitsu, Taekwondo flu, flu shoe pork, flu platter, beef and broccoli flu, Shen flu, the ancient art of dancing like Chinese people at Lincoln Center. Just because I said all these nicknames, they said it was racist. They said it was racist, and it wasn't racist. And it was actually the opposite of racist. And I'm going to talk to Xi, and I'm going to say to Xi, Xi, we know it came from a lab. Okay, not a beach lab where I drop hot fire, but a lab with science people, which is also a lab. And you got to do things for us, or maybe we're gonna have World War III. In fact, we might even jump right to World War IV. We're so mad at you. And I think he'll back down, and he'll say, "You all right, sir? We did lab." And then we'll have peace. We'll have great peace.
That sounds like a fantastic plan.
And I think it was very impressive. All those great nicknames I came up with for
I
the flu.
I love them. I love them. 3 stars.
Wait, well, it's actually 5 stars.
All right, I'll put 2 extra. Now, you are trying to block little gay Mike Pence from grand jury testimony in the election probe. You think he has certain
Yes, and he's probably excited. He probably thought I said I'm trying to black Mike Pence. Yeah,
you think he has?
Only Roger Stone's wife is more excited about that prospect than small gay Mike Pence.
I think it says because he has some information that is only from president to vice president information, and some of that shouldn't be shared, or I don't. There was some kind of loophole you were going for there.
It's executive privilege, and when a
Yes.
vice president talks to a president, it should be private. And believe me, nobody wants to. I didn't want to hear half of the shit Mike Pence was saying. Sir, your shoulders are so strong, sir. Can I rub them? Mike, thank you, but no, thank you. Please leave. I don't think that's national security. It was awkward. I'll tell you that. You're gonna hear a lot of awkward conversations with small gay Mike Pence, but you're not gonna hear anything. And if you do hear a few things that are relevant, it's called executive privilege. I remember there was a movie called Executive Decision with Kurt Russell and Steven Seagal. Great movie, great actor, Steven Seagal. And this is like that, but more. Executive privilege is an even higher movie than executive action. If they made a sequel to Executive Action, it would be called Executive Privilege, and you wouldn't be able to see it because it would be totally privileged. The movie would be 90 minutes of a blank screen saying, "You can't see this," and then it would be John Cena doing this. "You can't see me."
Um, in politics, this is a very odd couple. Really extreme Democrat, really extreme Republican. The Conways, they are
No, he's
George
not a
Conway,
Democrat.
Kellyanne Conway. What?
He's not a Democrat. He's a Republican who left because he was upset with me. He helped me get elected. He was a strong Republican. You want to hear something?
I thought he went to the Democratic Party when
No,
he
no,
was
he went
upset
he
with
went
you.
to the anti-Trump. Oh, I don't like Trump. He went to those people. And I'll tell you what he did. I'll tell you what he did. And this is true. You can read this even in the fake New York Times.
Mm-hmm.
When I was elected, he was so happy. You know what he did?
What did he
He
do? He called
cried.
you.
He wept because it was such a big moment. This is true. This is in the failing New York Times today. He wept. And then all of a sudden I turned out to be a very strong president. Too strong. And his wife liked hanging out with me more than she liked hanging out with him. And I will never forget that Kellyanne Conway. And by the way, I read something in the fake news this week that I couldn't believe, and I'm surprised you haven't brought it up. Big Huck was asked to endorse me, and she declined for 2024. She said she's not going to make an endorsement yet. So obviously, this is
We have
sort
to
of
have her
breaking
on. We have to
news.
have her on. That is.
Well, I don't know. I think we're going to need guarantees that she's prepared to make a full apology and a full endorsement before we have her back on, because that was, other than the time when Ivanka told me to get out of the bathroom because she was showering, this is probably the biggest betrayal by a woman I've ever experienced. And this is but George Conway was very pro MAGA, very pro Trump until he wasn't. But his wife stayed with me, and I will never forget that. I will never forget that because she chose me. Granted, I'm taller, stronger, more handsome than her husband, but they have kids, and you have to respect that.
Mm-hmm.
But she chose me basically over her husband, and I think that's a very powerful sign of loyalty, and I will not forget that. But Huck has some real questions to answer at this point, because that was, me, nothing gets me down. I'm always very strong, very tough. That actually I paused. I almost had a moment of weakness. I was so shocked. And then I just straightened myself up and said, nope, still strong.
like you have to tell yourself that. Mr. President, we have one more story, and then we are going to get to listener questions, which I think they're the best in at least a year. They are some great questions. And this next sponsor, I'm a user of this sponsor. This website is awesome, and this saved me hundreds of dollars before the holidays this past year. It is rocketmoney.com. Rocket Money is awesome because I subscribe to so many things. I lose track of what I subscribe to, and I'm being charged for it, and I don't realize, and I'll just be paying for it. I know some people who get double charged for things. They don't even know they're paying twice for it. And I got rocketmoney.com, saved hundreds of dollars because I could cancel these subscriptions so easily. Usually, yeah, it takes so much time to cancel these subscriptions. With Rocket Money, it is easy. The app shows you all your subscriptions in one place and then cancels it for you whenever you don't want them. It's very easy. Just press cancel and that's it. You don't have to email anyone, don't have to call anyone. Rocket Money takes care of it for you. It's awesome. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you even know you were paying for. Like I said before, being double charged for a subscription, they will catch everything. To cancel subscription, all you have to do is just press cancel. That's all you have to do. Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Go to rocketmoney.com/MPGA. Seriously, it can save you hundreds per year. Saved me. That's right. It's rocketmoney.com/MPGA. Cancel your unnecessary subscriptions right now. Do it now. rocketmoney.com/MPGA. Also,
Next stuff. I have a question
yes,
before you go.
sure.
What is the only cancel culture that we approve of on this show?
rocketmoney.com.
There you go. Thank you.
No problem. Also, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/MPGA. We have Elon Musk joining us this month. We have Ron DeSantis joining us this month. We got movie reviews. We have Fred Trump traditions, hundreds of hours of content that you have not heard yet, bonus material from every single holiday that we have gone through in the calendar year. Check it out, patreon.com/MPGA. Check it out now. Now, Mr. President, I don't know if you saw, we have some competition with Idaho Militia Christian Bible Tech State College, and that is North Idaho College. They're competing to be who is more MAGA. What are your thoughts on this? I don't know if you read about this. Do you see a competition? Do we need like an annual bowl game, a football game to see who is more MAGA? How are we doing this?
Well, I wish you would remember that the school's proud tradition is as a 8-time national champion in cornhole. You seem to forget that often.
That's right. I'm sorry.
It's like forgetting that Alabama is great at football. They call them the Alabama of the militia Christian college, school, university techs. And here's the thing with who's the other school again? North Idaho.
North Idaho College.
And North Idaho College, by the way, is basically when you can't get into Idaho Militia Christian Bible Tech State College, you go to Idaho, whatever the hell, North Idaho College. It's when, obviously there's a requirement of at least one mass shooting on your application for Idaho Militia Christian. And when you don't meet that requirement, when you need extra sort of coursework to get up to the level of Idaho Militia Christian, like you have to be able to cite 10 Bible verses, prove that you've been involved in a shooting, either as an attacker or a defender. Either one is okay. You have to. There's a very exhaustive process to get into Idaho, and so many people don't make it. So many people don't make it, and then they say, "Well, I go to my safety school, North Idaho College," which
the Cardinals, Cecil the Cardinal. I mean, come on, what kind of mascot is that?
It's awful. And when they play cornhole against them, and it's a total blowout all the time. And you should see it. The women of it's very well known. The women of North Idaho College, they don't hang out at their own campus. No, they all get in their what are they called? Campers. What are those called? The RVs.
Not F-150s. Okay.
No, they can't afford it. They get in their RVs and they'll pack like 8 of them in a row, and they'll just go to the frat houses at Idaho Militia Christian and just offer sex just to be close to the Idaho Militia Christian, the studs at Idaho Militia Christian. So it's not even close. It's sad. It's sad because they're woke. They're woke compared to Idaho Militia Christian, and now they're trying to be not woke, and it's pathetic.
That is very pathetic. Mr. President, it's time for listener questions, and we are, of course, going to go to our Patreon president first, Alex's iPhone Trump. Mr. President, Reverend Shaman Esquire, sir, Tyler Perry is reportedly in talks to purchase BET from Paramount. What would a MAGA alternative network look like? Perhaps the Diamond Network in honor of our dear departed Raisinette. What a question.
I'm sorry, I was looking at a truth. I just received an urgent truth on Truth Social. So I'm sorry. I accidentally iPhone. With respect, I need tech to reread it.
Dr. Mr. President, Reverend Shaman Esquire, sir, Tyler Perry is reportedly in talks to purchase BET from Paramount. What would a MAGA alternative network look like? Perhaps the Diamond Network in honor of our dear parted Raisinette.
Well, that's a good question, and it's so woke. It's so woke that they're selling to Tyler Perry, a trans black, a left wing. He dresses as a grandmother all the time. That's exactly what the left wants. They want a trans grandmother black to run Paramount. They made The Godfather, and they're going to sell off BET, which is a racist channel, by the way. It's a very racist channel. But this would never happen on Paramount. They used to be run by Sumner Redstone, who was a very old womanizing sack of shit. But I respected it because he was old. He was old school. A lot of girlfriends, a lot of just would dangle his hairy ball sack, his old sack. He had to tuck it into his sock. It was so saggy sack, we called him. And they don't make them like that anymore. And then, their partner CBS had to get rid of Les Moonves because he kept forcing himself on women, which is what you do. It's called being an executive. But I think they should get rid of BET. I think it's actually a blessing. I think it's a blessing from white God to say, yes, Paramount, you don't need a racist, totally, who the hell even watches BET? Or BET Plus, they even try to do a streaming service. Don't they know their customers will just share the password, and you'll have two accounts for 2.7 million blacks will share two accounts. So no, we don't need BET. I think they should sell it. But if we were going to do sort of a Truth Social, like sort of our version of BET, I think it would be called. It would be called the Needed, Intelligent, Great, Gargantuan Entertainment Reservoir. I think that's how you'd that would be the sort of great network that would let everybody know this is where your strong black entertainment will be.
This next question comes from our vice
Would you
president.
mind? Would you mind saying that acronym? I think it's
when I play it back. Didn't write it down. It was too fast.
And I'm so good at branding that I came up with that on the spot.
Comes from the vice president right here. Good day, Mr. Dr. President, sir. In your CPAC speech, you said the wall was sitting there waiting to be installed, and Biden took it away so Texas and Arizona couldn't use it. They actually took it away and they hid it. They put it in a hiding area. Which of course was revealed pretty quickly. Where was this hiding area the wall was hiding, and how did you manage to find it?
They actually, what they did was they asked Chris Christie, Rosie O'Donnell, and Lizzo to come down and stand in front of it.
Okay. And that's how the whole wall was hidden.
That's how it was done. And then we said, "Excuse me," and then it was revealed. It's about damn time.
Next question comes from Nick Wilson on Facebook. Your Excellency, Sir, Doctor, Mr. President, sir. After Dan Jr. mocked John
PhD.
Fetterman.
You forgot one PhD, but that's okay. You did a good effort.
I'm just reading what's written. You should take it up with Nick. After Dan Jr. mocked John Fetterman for being disabled, Marjorie Taylor Greene called former Army Colonel Alexander Vindman a loser, and Carrie Lake insisted that Democrats voted for her. Who would you name the MVP of CPAC? Besides yourself, of course. Thank you, sir.
That's a great question. It will never be done, Junior, obviously. But that's a good question because Carrie Lake, I think, is a little too. Carrie Lake is a nice piece of ass. She's sort of like futuristic looking, she's sort of tan. You don't know what race she is totally. She's confident enough in her looks to have a very short haircut because you got to be kind of a good looking woman to go pull off a short haircut. But she's sort of almost got that energy of like a boss in a porn movie. Like every time she walks into a room, you assume she's going to go, I need those papers now and drop your pants. And that's a very exciting sort of vibe that she gives off. But I'm actually going to name Martin Taylor Greene the MVP of
Wow.
CPAC. And I'll tell you, and we talked about her earlier. She surprised the hell out of me by looking like a woman. I was very impressed.
My apologies. Writing something down. Mr.
Not
President, here
accepted.
we're gonna go to Instagram now. The gram.
Apology not
Uh,
accepted.
I know there's nothing I can do after that.
Well, you can acknowledge it. It's the first road to recovery is acknowledging that you've made an error and that you
I
are very
did. I shrugged
sorry.
my shoulders like, oops.
Well, this is shrugging shoulders is called disrespect, and now you're fired. New tech stuff guy next week. No more Fred Robb.
This comes from on the gram, Hal .Reichert.
We actually, excuse me, we've passed a podcast law. The gram is what blacks and people who want to be blacks call it. It's called Instagram.
This is from Instagram.
Thank you.
Reichert. Sir, we have all watched you in CPAC held this year in Gaylord National Harbor in Maryland. Was the Gaylord chosen to indicate support for Mike Pence?
No, it was actually to let him know that he's small gay Mike Pence, and that there's a bigger gay, and he's a gay lord, in fact. So that just let him know we don't need a small gay Mike Pence when we're in the presence of a gay lord.
The last question from Instagram comes from at Mark_Allen6. Sir, when do you plan to address the 22nd Amendment, if at all, after you are reelected in 2024 or after your 2028 reelection?
It's a great question. I've talked to Raging Brett Kavanaugh. I was very sorry for how he's treated me. I've talked to Nancy Coney Bartholomew, and I've talked to Neil Gorsuch, and they've all assured me, and I know Alito and Thomas are very strong for me. They're gonna interpret the 22nd Amendment, which says you can only do 2 terms, because if I want a second term, but they don't let me take the office, what kind of constitution could you have if that counts? It can't count. If it doesn't count against your record, if they steal the office from you.
Right.
So I will win a 3rd election, but it will only be my 2nd term in the proper location. So any common sense, patriotic Supreme Court justice will know that, no, of course it's totally legal. And then when I run for a 4th term, they'll say, was payback for how wrongly they treated him in his 2nd term when they didn't let him have the office. We're giving him a bonus
So it's
term.
A payback bonus term.
It's like Patreon presidency. Join here. If you got screwed over, you get bonus content. Another term.
Now we have 3 more questions, and these are all from Twitter. And this comes from at TC_Libby. Your Honor, what are your thoughts on this woke product trying to replace our traditional white toothpaste? I don't know if you know about this as charcoal toothpaste. I thought I was just supporting our strong coal industry. Then I found out it's not only the package, but the actual toothpaste is black.
Well, that's what they want to do. Isn't that what they want to do? Think about the symbolism, tech stuff. Think about you open up your mouth, and they don't even want your teeth to be white anymore. They want them to be black. I'm going to have African-American teeth. Have this toothpaste. Oh, you want pearly whites? Well, that's racist. We're doing critical race toothpaste. Now put this black tooth. And then what they'll do, tech stuff? You want to know what they'll do? This is how nasty the left is. First, they'll want to make your teeth black, okay? And then they'll say that your teeth are wearing blackface. So you can't win. They've set it up. You just want to have some normal toothpaste. Instead, you get some sort of woke affirmative action paste covering your white teeth. Your teeth try to move to the suburbs to get away. And then all of a sudden they'll look in your mouth and say, "Why are your teeth black? Are your teeth wearing blackface? Racist teeth. You're canceled. We've canceled your mouth." It's a total, I gotta say, I'm even sort of shocked at a certain point by the left, and I shouldn't be. But they do things like this that go even beyond what I thought the left was capable of. Because now they're thinking, they're almost playing radical left chess. But we'll make them have black teeth so that you no longer have white teeth. You want to eliminate white teeth. And then we can then accuse the teeth of doing blackface and being racist. So we can destroy the teeth in the physical form, and then we can destroy the teeth's reputation. A teeth won't get a job. They'll be canceled from social media. You try to put your teeth on social media, they'll say, "No, your teeth aren't welcome here."
So it's a whole plan from the left, you're saying?
Oh, it's a complete radical left. Probably Soros, probably George Soros, probably Bill Gates also had something to do with it. It's and I feel very sorry for TC Libby, because I gotta be honest. I might have thought the same thing if I saw that toothpaste. I might have thought the same thing. I might have said, "Look at that charcoal toothpaste. Energy dominant toothpaste. We like that."
They throw you off here, Mr. President. Then it says epic whitening.
Well, that's the lie. That's that's
That's the left lie right there.
I think I would, when I am back, when I am back in office where I belong, by the way, I will sign an executive order banning this toothpaste on day one. Day one.
Perfect.
Total ban on black toothpaste.
We have two more questions left. This comes from at DJ McConnell on Twitter. Mr. President, sir, will you be naming any of your freedom cities after Sir Jeffrey Epstein or the great Fred Trump? Also, will any of them be exclusively for our most attractive sex workers?
That's a great question. Yes, we suggested freedom cities at CPAC. And I think that's a great idea. I think obviously the main freedom city would be called Trump land, after Maine and after the great Fred Trump. We'll have Fredericksburg, named after the great Fred Trump. We will of course have Epstein Island, to rebrand it, because it's been talked about in very nasty terms. So we'll rebrand a new island so it gets its proper place as a place of respect.
When you call me the island of Epstein, to really rebrand it so people don't have a negative connotation with the old name for it.
Tech stuff. When you say his name and you don't put a sir on it.
Island of Sir Epstein.
Well, yes, then maybe we could talk about that, but it's too late for you. You're not double fired. And then I think we absolutely have to have a great place for our sex workers. So yes, we might even call it Las Donald. How about Las Donald?
I like that. Good ring to it.
Viva Las Donald. Sex workers can live there. You know the rest of the song. Very strong Elvis.
The kids know it. Mr. President, we have our last question here, and this comes from at Ampagnata on Twitter. Sir, Doctor, Shaman, Reverend, Your Holiness, what kind of conversations are your good friend Shinzo and the great Fred Trump having in heaven? One can only imagine the fun they're having up there.
Well, the thing is, I know when Shinzo got to heaven, the first person who probably ran to meet him was the great Fred Trump. But what Fred Trump would learn very quickly is Shinzo. I think why I got along so well with Shinzo, we were not totally the same, but he respected me, and I respected him, and we didn't have to be the same type of person. And I think what he would find is he's not going to he'll have the respect of the great Fred Trump, and he'll respect the great Fred Trump. But I don't think they would be best buddies. It would, the great Fred Trump would probably say to him, "Oh, I hear there's some angels that do anal over there. You want to get over there?" And he would say, "I want to meditate." And Fred Trump would say, "Okay, you do meditation. I'm going to do strong angelic. They call it angelic anal in heaven." So I think they would sort of, just sort of like the way a parent maybe sees a friend of their son or daughter and says, "Hello there, how are you?" I think they'll have that kind of relationship. But great respect, but maybe not best friends.
Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us once again, especially on the first of the month for our March episode, fielding questions from our listeners. And go to rocketmoney.com/MPGA. Also, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/MPGA. And guys, just follow me on social media at JNog. And touring this fall with the solo show that I did a run in the city with. You can check it out online, goodieshow.com. It's a show about mental health and suicide prevention, and it's not a true comedy here. So but a little something different I'm doing. So check it out, goodieshow.com. And Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much for the floor. I also claim the ceiling. Hello, everybody. It's JL. I'd say it's my usual list of things, but if you're still paying attention, thank you to people who came out in both Boston and Fairfield, Connecticut. Very nice seeing and meeting fans. DC Improv, very big show, March 19th. March 24th, even bigger show, Philadelphia City Winery. March 25th, not as big a show because my pay rate is fixed. Princeton, Catch a Rising Star. But if you're near Princeton, if that's convenient for you, please come on down. But if you're choosing between Princeton and Philly, I'd love you to come to Philly because every ticket sold there is more money for me. Not to be a mercenary, but tis the season. March 31st and April 1st, special recording in New York City. And what's the other thing? Oh yeah, and I have my own Patreon with a bunch of stuff. Patreon.com/JLCovan. I have my other podcast, Righteous PK. Everything is on my website, jlcomedy.com. And as always, if you haven't given this show 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, what the hell? And if this is your favorite podcast or one of your favorite podcasts, show us some love on the Patreon, because believe me, you get rewarded with a lot. I see what people are pushing out in their Patreon, and it's more like, "Hey, do you like me? Well, fucking give me a tip for being me." We're basically doubling your experience. So, and it's the more raw, like we go harder on those. There's like, it's almost its own separate world or enhanced universe. So give it a try. If you're still listening to this, you're probably somebody who's amenable to giving it a try. So try it for a month, load up on 20 different pieces of content, a bonus video every month. Like my videos were basically what kind of helped launch this thing in terms of getting us like so many more fans. So if you like those videos, there's bonus videos every month. There's movie reviews by Trump every month. There's bonus podcasts and live shows every month. That's a lot of good stuff if you're a fan of the show. So, I think you should do it. So if you're still listening, go join. And if you join that, then go listen to my other podcast. I won't make you join 2 Patreons, but yeah, that's enough from me. Thank you for listening. God help us all.